set up a whole bunch of content here for showing off Michael's work, and it's all around this terrace area. If anyone has any onboarding technical issues with Spatial, if you need any advice, feel free to ask. The main tips that we give everybody in Spatial is check your settings in the top right. Go to your settings, check the microphone and camera settings, make sure those are using the right devices. Then your screen share settings, you can select the resolution that you want and the render quality. If you have a decent machine, you might want to put your render quality at 1 and your frame rate uncapped. That will make sure you get a really nice, clear view. Hey, Matt. Yes, welcome. Hey, here's Michael. This is Matt. Matt is another Spectra staff member, Spectra Studios. And Matt's from Tokyo. Oh, nice. That's great. Oh, wow, love the avatar. There's another link to spectracities.com if you want to learn more about where you're, the city that we're in right now. I'm going to go live on Spatial. Okay. Now we're live. And okay, it's 12. I'm going to start the stream. All right, checking audio, desktop audio, checking, testing 1, 2. Hopefully the levels are okay on the stream. You might, if you have a minute to open YouTube, Matt, you could check the levels for me, so make sure they're good.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
Yeah, great. It looks okay on my end, at least. Welcome everyone who's joining from Spawn Point here. We're gonna get started probably about 10 minutes, and we've set up a bunch of information content about Michael's work, and around the terraced area you can see a bunch of images and artworks to telling the story basically of the music venue that Michael runs, Soda World / Soda Studios. There's also some stuff around the outside here with some information about like the city, Johannesburg, and the areas where Michael's been working.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
Hey, welcome.
What's up? What's up? What's up? This is me here dancing. Check these moves. Oh yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Welcome.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome.
Yeah, good to see you again, Patrick.
Yes, I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. This is going to be a fun one today. There's some people from the, have you ever heard of the M3 Makerspace? It's like a virtual makerspace.
Yeah.
So they were
very
much
with
so.
your village idea a little bit. They're working on building some village models right now, or homestead rather, sort of like solar punk homestead models, and we gave them some of our stuff too.
No, those guys are doing some badass stuff, eh? Seriously.
Yeah, they're always building. You can tell because I go in their Discord. They're always in there, like on Blender and stuff. Yeah, welcome everyone.
So really,
Thanks, Matt. We are streaming on YouTube as well. If you somehow get disconnected or you have to leave, you can always check the YouTube stream. It's going to be up afterwards. The recording, YouTube / Spectra Cities, I think. I'm just gonna do a little more setup. Yeah, Matt, if you could help like greet everyone. Anyone have any technical issues, ask Matt.
Will do. Also sending the YouTube link in the chat for now, just in case people want to open that and pause it on the side. So if at any point we get disconnected from each other, you can see where we are through there.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. There's Ryan. There's Ryan. There's Steve.
I'm trying.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, I'm trying this on mobile. Hey, I'm trying on this on mobile. So
Yeah. It seems like it's working.
we're gonna give it a try.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right, great.
Yeah, it's pretty good quality actually. Welcome.
And in
back,
case anyone
Steve.
else wants to introduce themselves.
And yeah, let's type where we're coming from in the chat. So I'm Nick Koff. I'm the community at Spectra, and I'm taking control of our avatar here with the pink hair. But I'm coming in from Maine today. Got Vancouver in the house. Tokyo, of course.
Always.
And if anyone's in the room that is not in our Discord already, there's a Discord link over by the entrance here on the left, this purple billboard. If you click this green portal, that'll take you right to our Discord community. That's where we list our upcoming meetups and talks. And if you haven't yet, drop a like to the space. In the top right, there's a heart. You can bookmark the space so you can find it again later. And the account with the pink hair here, if you click on me, the Spectra character, we need a name for her, but anyway, you can follow this account and also see our spaces that way too. All right, a couple more people trickling in. Welcome, John Luke. Yeah, we got Maine, Vancouver, Tokyo, Johannesburg. That's pretty much covering the latitude, at least.
It's a good spread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trending on Spatial IO.
Yeah. We can start gathering over at the terraces here. This is where we're going to start the presentation, and then we'll probably walk around a little bit actually too. But we set up a bunch of gallery of content over here, telling the story of Michael's Soda World project. But
I'm jumping by where we're going to be meeting.
Yeah, you can also clap, I guess. So we have spatial audio turned
How's
it going? Is that a question?
I love the clapping feature. It's so cool.
I think your question got cut off. Not sure about the mic, but if you wanted to type it in chat, that would work too.
Nick, I think that was actually Michael speaking a second ago.
Oh, was it?
Well, I was just saying clapping is cool. Is my mic working good?
Yeah, no, yours sound great.
It is now, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, I think we're getting ready to do an intro. So let me just bring everyone over to here. Get ready to be transported to the stage. All right, welcome. So Michael, you remember how to do the V thing, but if you flip your view around, you can stand up here, and let's get Ryan up here too. We want to do a little bit of news, Spectra news, before we start. Navigation on spatial. We didn't cover this, but if you're new, you can click the ground to teleport to the ground. Also, notice your character's head follows your mouse cursor if you want to look around or not look at the floor all the time, which tends to happen in this platform. But another way, if you're a gamer, you might be used to using WASD to move around. You can do that. Shift will make you sprint, and spacebar will make you jump. if you're on mobile, there's a little stick, virtual stick you can control that way. Awesome. Are you there, Matt? Maybe Ryan's on mobile. Matt, do you want to help do the news?
Yeah, sure. Let me think about what's been up recently.
I'll do the quick intro and then I'll ask you for news items.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
welcome everyone. We're just about to get started over here. My name is Nick. I am the community lead at Spectra Cities. Spectra is a project started by Ryan here and Matt, also on the Spectra studio team. And we're basically a virtual city that builds real cities. And so we're interested in helping new urban projects, co-designing different types of urban projects using virtual tool sets. And so this city that we're standing in here, right here, was designed by a team of architects. It is a buildable design and it's not finished. So it's a design that we're continuing to remix together and collaborate on virtually to explore the type of real settlements that we might want to live in the future, or how we might want to change our existing cities. So we're a community that brings together world builders, the virtual world builders, and physical placemakers and planners and architects to collaborate to imagine urban futures that we actually want to live in. We're not a utopian project where you think of ourselves more like a protopian project. We want to make a better, slightly better world for the future than we have right now, and use our imagination and combined abilities to do that. We have some stuff going on in our community. I'll hand it over to Matt to talk about what's been happening this month. It's been a pretty busy month.
Yeah.
What's been going on?
To keep it short, I'd say that our main update coming up soon is that we're going to be changing the website a little bit to reflect our focus more onto not only cities, but also villages and not other sizes of human settlements. Because as we've been hosting events with different partners in the network city space, or just meeting different content creators and online communities, we've realized that there's a really broad movement right now, and a lot of people are interested in solar punk communities, village scale co-living. So we're going to accommodate that. And then around that same time, we're going to be releasing some more info about our first site in Puerto Rico soon. So I would just say keep those on your radar, and within the next couple months, you'll see some more images, graphics, and renderings from those projects.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Matt. And if you want to stay in touch with what's happening in the Spectra community, the best way to do that is to join our Discord. The link is right over here in this green portal. That'll link you right to our Discord community. So we'll post these meetup events there, and as well as there's a forum where we work on projects together. So feel free to stop by and say hi. This is also our virtual hub here on Spatial. So if you just come to this intersection, you might see various things happening at different times, such as a talk that we're having today. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce Michael Balkind. Where are you, Mike? There he is. Mike, do you want to come up to the front here? So I met Michael through VR Chat, actually, where he runs one of the coolest virtual music venues, which I didn't actually know was also a real music venue in Johannesburg, South Africa. And I don't want to spoil it by saying too much about Michael, but suffice to say, he's got a really interesting story for us about music and cities and the combination of the virtual and real places. So I'll turn it over to you, Michael. Feel free to take us through wherever you want to start.
Great. Thank you so much, Nick. It's been amazing, this process so far. Oh, sorry, I teleported myself somewhere. Oh. Love what you guys are doing, and it's just been inspiring, actually, getting to know this community, and so many people doing so many cool things, and being from Johannesburg here and being on this project and then meeting so many people around the world doing kind of similar or just wacky stuff is just awesome. So just hands, Ooh. this is going to be a bit of a walking tour. I want to show you here where we started. If you guys don't mind following me,
Sure.
I'll show you here. Because this is very much part of the story. So yeah. Ooh. Oh no. Okay, moving. So if you can see this Google Maps image here, we are in downtown Johannesburg, Soda Studio. I don't know if you can see the Soda Studio there. I'm going to actually upload a bigger picture for you of the studio. Whoa, there it is. And just kidding. Nick, I can't seem to move it. I don't know if you can move this picture that's here.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, my background is actually around 2000. I started an online magazine, Johannesburg Live. It was about the year was 2000 in Johannesburg. It was just post-apartheid Johannesburg. Things were crazy. Like Johannesburg got the reputation of being the most dangerous city in the world, rightfully so. It was like really like chaos in the wild, wild west. And it was a blog back then in 2000 and really passionate about Johannesburg. Seeing the transformation of you can say that Johannesburg's kind of one of the world's first white supremacist city. The city was this amazing city of opulence, was built on the back of the discovery of the biggest gold mine in the world. And the city, I don't know if most people don't actually know this, was actually sent like Lego pieces from London. All the buildings, the old buildings in town were sent over by ship, and literally the blocks were just compiled in Johannesburg, showing you how much money was there. Not sure if even anyone knows that Kimberley is where they found diamonds in South Africa. That was the first city in the world to get lights, funnily enough. So I was doing the online magazine for many years, and then I started an agency where we were doing kind of like innovative tech campaigns for brands. That was like 2007 till 2015, 2017. Really was fed up by the corporate work. It was just thankless and wanted to get back into the world of, I don't know, media and events. I used to do a lot of events from 2000 when we started the blog, live music and all that kind of stuff. Similar to kind of how Vice was, but not so extreme. And then prior to COVID, I was working with technologies and venues where we had cameras in the jazz club. South African jazz is phenomenal. And these webcams on a computer, and we just start streaming it and recording these shows. And I'm not going to go into all those details now, but we're experimenting with cameras and broadcasting and just doing some crazy stuff. The work I was doing leading up to COVID, is these interactive kiosks, almost like photo booths, but they're video booths running unities with cameras. And I would do a lot of kind of brand work at events and all kind of things like that. And what you're seeing here is our studio. So we had our studio, it was about a 340 square meter space. So we were building our kiosks. And this is like a 1920s tractor factory that was built here. So what you're seeing here, I'm just going to scale this up. That's here. These are these charming little studio spaces, warehouses around this piazza almost. And you have to drive through the bottom here through a security gate. All right. And there's little small industry places. There's Gordon Froud, a well-known South African artist. He's in here. But outside, we actually give it a nickname of Little Mogadishu because it's hell outside here. All right. So if you look here, oh, that's cool that you put it right over there, Nick. The streets outside of us, specifically where we are, is surrounded by a sex working ring, prostitution. And at the same time, there's these drug addicts, clans, herds of drug addicts. It's a drug called Inyopi. It's a terrible drug. It's a mixture of cheap heroin, battery acid, HIV medication. It's just nuts. And the kids who take it, they're like zombies. They just walk around like zombies. And I call it a herd of these zombies outside our place, because when you go under the bridge and you see them, that's what it looks like. They're far gone, these kids. It's just crazy. And to the right over here is in the green, but here is the Zulu hostels. basically migrant workers from the beginning of the apartheid days when they've discovered gold were brought up from different regions. And the Zulu, the guys from KwaZulu-Natal, the Zulu people, I'm sure you all heard of Shaka, they stay at this hostel. So we kind of like a Chinatown, but a Zulu town. And whenever you see, if any of you keep an eye on the news, when you see the xenophobics attack in Johannesburg, it comes from, a lot of it comes from these Zulu hostels who are under control of the king. And if you come have a look over here, it's quite cultural and it's amazing, our area. There's so much cool things like traditional Zulu markets, selling anything from kind of muti stuff to traditional clothing and music. But the hostel's like 10,000 men, if you can see the photos here on the left. It's amazing and it's culturally incredible. But when we do have tension from all the xenophobia from foreigners coming from like Zimbabwe and other places, and economic conditions are crap, then once in a while shit goes crazy. All right. A friend of mine here, Lon Sky, I put a link to his photography. He's a phenomenal photojournalist who's been instrumental in covering like the post-apartheid South African news, I guess, for lack of better words. And here specifically is his work from the xenophobic attack. Phenomenal. These are these first the three pictures here on the right. So I just don't want to mix the ones on the left are from Google Images, by the way. So these three pictures here are from his exhibition. So that's our area, like around us. But the greater Johannesburg has been a phenomenal story post-apartheid of like, we went from this like whites only town city. And just to give you an example from architectures, most apartments in Johannesburg, you got these big, beautiful apartments. They have a door for the people who are living there to come in. And literally 2 meters away from the main door is a door for the servants to come in. Apartheid was architected everywhere in Johannesburg and South Africa. Every town was a white town with then labor townships built next to it. Now, post-apartheid Johannesburg, I'm very much into music and culture. Like it's kind of like 1940s, 50s New York, Dizzy Gillespie, the Miles Davis. That is arguably the biggest revolution of music we ever had. It gave explosion to everything that came afterwards. And Johannesburg, because of this rapid transformation in a very like short period of time, now is ripening as this like world, like culture, like so much genres of music that you've never heard, art, photography. It's, in my opinion, it's kind of like it's going to be, before COVID, especially COVID, it took a big knock. So like even our area where we operating took a big knock. And now it's coming back again, but it's reminiscent of like maybe Berlin in the early days, but like times 100, because the talent that we have coming out here and the desperation is just, it's a phenomenal place to be right now, Johannesburg, especially if you're into music. So I want to take you over here so we can start on the journey of Soda World. Nick, is everything cool? Audio?
Yeah, no, it sounded great. And there was a link to the gallery, the photographer that you mentioned. The portal next to those photos leads to the photography exhibit, if anybody wants to check that out.
Yeah.
We're going to go head back up here to the main stage.
Yeah, so now COVID came. It was devastating because my only source of income really was doing things at events and everything, but we were already like playing with these ideas of cameras and venues and blah blah. And then a friend of mine, first of all, my friend Gavin Eckhart is a phenomenal sound engineer, and myself, we work a lot together on different jobs, and we're like, dude, why don't we're talking about making the studio into a club for a long time, and we're like, let's do it now. We got no work. Him and there's a friend, Rene Rassol. He's like one of the top sound production guys, lighting and stage building. And everyone had equipment. There was no work. So we kind of took all the equipment, put it into the venue. People weren't allowed out of their house at all. So we were like, let's make a like streaming venue, and like, let's broadcast from here to the world. And for a long time, we really like blown away by the talent we have here. So we're like, yeah, doing online streams and doing things like live from the studio, a real venue with people coming in, but also going live. Well, that's like what is exciting us. So
is that kind of what the top
we built an
video
online
is here? The DJ one?
Yeah, so that's the first, well, not the DJ one was, yeah, that's early days. So we got a job to do a Japanese Biennale, where we did like a DJ in the studio over Zoom. We had a rapper from Japan. On the right is Khafela. He's a phenomenal artist. So because no artists had work and we had this whole thing, my video's not playing. I'm not sure about you guys.
It's playing for us. At least for me.
We actually, when we start, we have these PTZ cameras, these robotic cameras that like we managed to get from China, like before COVID. That's what I'm saying. We were messing around with all this stuff. And then we had this full studio with about 7 of these PTZ cameras on a control desk, lighting, sound, and an online platform. And then we started broadcasting to the metaverse and started experimenting. At the same time, COVID started, so everyone was streaming. And like we were doing it for quite a long time before, but it completely got diluted. At the same time, a very good friend of mine, Rick Treweek, who's known on the internet as Metarick, he's like a well-known figure in the VR world from Johannesburg, South Africa. And he was getting into VR chat more and more, and VR generally. And he's kind of like, he started a thing called the Metaverse Crew. And I don't know if any of you know it. And he was introducing me into virtual reality. And at the same time we're doing the streaming stuff, he was kind of experimenting with building our space in VR. And then our friend Lucas in the UK helped build the first 3D model of our studio in downtown Johannesburg. So at that point, we were doing these shows. We're actually getting quite really good, like South African artists. And it was interesting. Immediately, we were like, no, we got to make people feel like they're present in the venue. So we started experimenting with putting chats on our screens and from the chats. And then when we launched the VR venue, that was mind-blowing. Like we went live. I can't remember how many people were there at the first event, but like, there was like, I don't know, like 60, 80, maybe even 100 people in VR suddenly in our 3D world in downtown Johannesburg. And that just blew our minds. So the studio was getting jobs like and actually helping us through COVID. But what was most interesting is when we started to do some interesting stuff. I'm also a DJ as a hobby. And I don't know if any of you DJ, but like when you DJ, it's the whole thing is to kind of like get the crowd connected to what you're doing. And a part of the art of DJing is taking a dance floor and slowly building it up. And like what was interesting is what we started doing is what we started seeing is we started like having cameras in VRs on screens in the venues, because we had this like kiosks with screens and everything. We just had screens all over the venue. And we'd start showing people in VR in the venue and people in the venue in VR. And if you can come here, you can see, I think I put like a little video somewhere here. Where are we now? Here, you can start seeing what I'm speaking about. So like this video, I don't know if I'm supposed to play it or... All right, so what was happening is incredible. We started this, because of VR, we started designing our lights like neons in the venue to make it look like VR chat. And then what we started doing is on our mixing desks, you can actually look behind you. So we created a VR room in our studio where people in the studio coming to our venue could pop into VR chat. And then the people in VR chat would have cameras on the VR room so they can see each other. And then we also putting the stuff on the dance floor and everyone can see each other, and it creates this mashup of energy that was amazing. And at that point, the insights that we got that actually you can create energy globally from people joining an event like this. I used to do events back in 2000 to 2007, and I loved the rush of like, you do flyers, you put all these artists together and these acts, and then you put it together, and if people come, and lots of people come, it's like the best feeling ever. And what is amazing is that we could take a small venue in Johannesburg, and the next thing there's 100 people in virtual reality, and you can feel the energy, which is amazing. And at some point, we got a little bit of funding last year, and we started getting an idea of this blueprint of a mixed reality software on how do we make people from online and VR be felt in the venue more. So like we built we built our own platform, which I'm going to say the link here. And then our chat system, we built a software that will grab chats from the metaverse and bring it into the venue. Very basic for now, just because of our budgets, but like the idea is that this becomes like a visual triggerer from the metaverse into the real world, from the real world into the metaverse, and from all these learnings that we've been getting on how to mix realities is like implement that through the software. So yeah, like just want to show you over here. Up here, you can see like in the early days, we were actually like, it was so much fun because we were experimenting a lot with like stage design from our venue, doing these amazing sets and beautiful shows to the metaverse, because we were like, oh, how can we make this look so amazing? And if any of you want to see here, you can see all the photos. And we've recorded like at least 20 really high quality shows that's part of our platform. So jumping into so many places, I hope like I put the link there is where you can see one of our events
everyone up
with
here.
a chat.
I'll yank everyone up here. There we go.
And
So you're talking about these photos here.
Yeah. And then I want to show everyone here. Here's all our recorded shows, which it's not like live officially, so it's going to be part of like a paywall. Some of them are behind a paywall, some of them are not.
This link that you put in chat, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's like in the early days of the studio. That's actually before we started playing around with VR.
These are a bunch of your show posters down here, it looks like.
Oh yeah, that's true. Let's go check. That's pretty cool. There's all the early show posters. So we kind of had a nightclub in the real world, and then also promoting it in the virtual world. And you can come see some of these flyers. It's quite interesting promoting shows in the virtual, because there's like things that are so different. Like people are not used to doing these things at all. So now how do you promote it? Like, what are you doing? Like, what do we even call this? People had no idea what this is. And then we got selected last year for the Venice Film Festival, just after we launched the VR venue. And that kind of changed everything for us, because that really put us on the map. And then Venice was very difficult, because the actual technology in the studio is we run an NDI network. We run about 9 cameras in the real world. We run about 3 or 4 cameras in VR. And then we're taking mixes from each and mixing them all together with the music. It's just crazy. Like the DJ, next to the DJ has screens next to them, so they can see the VR world. They can chat with the VR world and the online world, and you can either watch on the platform or in VR. So anyway, after Venice, it's really difficult like to run these systems. We don't have much money at all. Like that times are really tough. So it's kind of like a shoestring team. We got an amazing team of like performers, like presenters, MCs. It's really talented. Pule, he's a linguistic and a rapper for a band called Bomb Shelter Beast. Also an improvisation actor. Simpiwe K-Man is our MC that would MC between the metaverse and the VR worlds. And we were just doing this. It was amazing. And we're doing this, we're like blown away. But after Venice, we're like, we can't do this again. This is like we're promoting these shows to the world. And if anything goes wrong, like so much can go wrong. Downtown Johannesburg is badass. We have very bad internet, and I'll go through what happened now. So Venice came and we're like, yo, this is growing and we're getting people, but we're going to learn how to do this better. So then we decided that we're going to launch the prototype sessions. The prototype sessions were going to be on a Wednesday, and that would just let us mess around very much into like the DJ scene. Also, we've got amazing DJs here, Afrotech, Amapiano. I'm really into the reggae, raga, techno, like all that kind of stuff. And we just were doing what we loved, and let's see what happens. And we started doing this and having our whole screen system set up and everything. And pretty much from the beginning of the events, this Japanese audience started coming. First, just like a handful, and then they started tweeting about it. The next week we had 40 people, and the next week we had 100 people. And every week we had this crew from Japan, the States, and this amazing crew, including Nick, who we met, that was forming around these events. And again, this is mind-blowing for us. And then
I think the
load shedding hit.
Video over here might show the Japanese community a little bit. It's down in the part about the Human Rights Fest.
Yeah, I can
Maybe
also
I'll yank
load
everyone
this.
here.
I'm going to load this Venice video because that'll give you a really good idea of like the entire system. So
Here, I'll play this one first. It's really short. They were the MCs in the real venue, and then there was a virtual.
Here's the link to the YouTube video. It's one of them. It's not the behind the scenes one. Yeah, so like at this point, South Africa, after we have this thing called load shedding, where like the government's main electricity supplier, Eskom, cannot supply the whole country electricity, and we have these cutoffs where they cut us off for a few hours a day. But it just escalated just as we were starting to do these things, and there just wasn't enough revenue coming in, and we just really couldn't do. We needed to get a generator. It was like 6 hours a day, and at where we at now is we just had to actually take a break from doing these events at the studio because we actually just can't afford to do it. Then we were like, well, why don't we take our system and put it in another venue? So there's like a venue in the north of Johannesburg. It's much safer. They got fast internet. We're busy putting our tech in there. But last week, here, as you see here, this is very super interesting. Okay, so like in apartheid, the crazy Dutch colonists, like they were literally a bunch of guys in wagons trying to get away from the English. And they come to the high veld of Johannesburg. They got like 20 slaves with them, a Bible and a wife. And they're like just like in the bush, happy as can be, right? And then the next thing, they find the biggest gold reserves in the world. And that became Johannesburg. And these guys built a fort on the top of Johannesburg at the beginning of it, which is going to be like a prison to host all the like criminals of those days. And then two is to put it at the top of the city to scare everybody. They had machine guns on every side. And post those days, the early gold days in apartheid, which is around the 1940s, when they started institutionalizing the apartheid laws, that was turned into a prison where guys like Gandhi and Nelson Mandela were kept. Then apartheid finished, and the new South Africa began, and it became the site of the constitutional courts. One of the South Africa, I don't know if most people know, I've got one of the best constitutions on paper. It's a beautiful constitution with a beautiful story behind it, and we got this like amazing opportunity to take the Human Rights Festival that was produced there and turn it into a mixed reality festival from all the stuff that we learned at Soda. And it's pretty cool because like anything you do in the metaverse is kind of the first time it's ever been done. You know, it's like this is the first human rights mixed reality event ever, which is kind of like just funny and cool. Although it's philosophically, you can say everything is mixed realities, but that's for another time. But I'm going to actually put, this video is not public yet because we still have to edit it, like it's halfway. So this is, I think it'll be really cool for you to see. I'm going to put it in the chat. You can see this is still in the making. This is mind-blowing. And like, this festival was phenomenal. We built a network across this venue, like a kilometer worth of network cables. We had our PDZ cameras on the different stages, and we started broadcasting from the little studio there in one of the prison cells. It was mind-blowing.
I have this
And
video
we have our
from
presenters.
that setup, Mike. Check it out.
Oh,
This was
cool. The one
we
I
are
sent you.
Constitutional Hill, Johannesburg, going into our prison cell. This is where we're gonna be streaming
that?
from today. Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
I can't.
It's over here above the map, above the building, right here. This video.
Prison cells and army barracks.
Okay.
This
I,
is
for
where
some
we at.
reason, can't see some of the
Oh
videos.
yeah,
but everyone else can
this
see
is
it.
where
That's
it's all
awesome.
going down.
It was such,
What to go
like,
on,
there's
what
so
to go
much,
on.
I'm not even going through here, this idea of like when you activate these technologies, how a physical space actually has a soul. And that's what I love so much. Like a real place that has been built and turned into a venue has actually, it's got so much currency in the metaverse. It's phenomenal. It's almost like if it exists in the real world, it has a soul in the metaverse. If it doesn't exist in the real world, it doesn't have a soul in the metaverse. No, I'm just saying this to kind of like, this is like a thought process, you know?
So the virtual event
And-
happened in a 3D model of this building, and that's what's in this video on the left.
Yes.
So the virtual participants were in the digital twin of that prison while you were turned the real one into the studio. It's kind of mind-blowing.
And not only that, like in the festival, we would feed the VR world back into the venue and we could hear the VR world. So what happened was, is we started doing the show and we had a team of about 12, like on the site. It was like performers, engineers. And then we have this amazing community in the metaverse who's like really came together and helped us to help with the online audience. And my job is I sit and I mix everything. So I have all the camera feeds. I sat there for 12 hours mixing the show. About late morning, we're broadcasting from the main stage where there's activist groups and politician books talking about human rights. Very interesting talks. Really worth seeing the YouTube video, that the last one that I clicked there. And at that point, a march started in Constitutional Hill. Context: 3 days before, Julius Malema, who's like a provocateur in the political space, was planning a march that was so it was so anticipated, like to cause trouble, that the government put 5,000 soldiers on the streets. Thankfully, it didn't become too violent, but that was like in the back of our mind. So this march starts, and like we have to shut down the cameras in the main stage, which is a few hundred meters from us, where they're having these talks. And then we tell the VR audience, obviously we also realize the drama of this, you know, so we send our team out to just cover this on social media. We tell everyone, hey, you can follow this on Twitter. We didn't know what was happening. So we're sitting in this little cell, our team goes out, and then they start sending us videos. But I didn't know, but the VR audience really were frightened. Like Amit, one of the people who are helping us and part of our greater family, she told me afterwards that like some people were so frightened that they left the VR room because they felt that they were going to see a slaughter happen. And the Japanese audience all got behind us and triggered emojis to see if we're okay. The marchers came in, it wasn't violent. So, and yeah, that was, and then like the feeling of the metaverse and our team and everybody, like that fright everyone went, was such a powerful feeling. And again, showing how powerful, especially dealing with something like human rights, how powerful that is to bring people together. If you think about it, it's like now you're trying to, especially in days of what's happening today around the world, where it's like the opposite of human rights, the fact that we can do an event, that there's already a program, and we can not only broadcast that, but also connect people from around the world to immerse in this subject matter, is mind-blowing. And yeah, that's kind of like in a nutshell this little journey that we've been on. And
Let's look at the model.
this a big
Mike, come follow.
Yeah.
Let's go up here. Come here. Way up in the top of the terrace, we've actually imported the venue, an early version of the VR venue of Soda World, and you can see it's not a digital twin, but it's inspired by the real thing.
Yeah, look, it is like a mimic of the structure, obviously with 3D assets. So yeah, like the digital twin is so interesting for me. I think, like, I just want to give you an example of a story of how powerful this stuff is. So like there's a venue in Soweto called Sawubona Music Jam. It's built literally between two like low cost kind of housings that you get in the townships. Every week on a Tuesday night, there's a jam session there of some of the best musicians you'll ever see in your life. I've taken people there from all over the world who've like never had an experience like this in their life. It's phenomenal. They charge 30 rands to get into this venue. Okay. 30 rands to get in. That is like, I don't know, not even like, I think it's like around $2. Lucky Tobela, the owner of the place, probably makes, I don't even know, but maybe like $400 in a night. It doesn't make money, in other words. But I love this idea that we can connect this kind of mixed reality to the venue. And imagine, like, I'm a huge music fan, so like I would pay if I was in Australia or anywhere to be in the metaverse, one of 80 people only, because that's what, like, we're laying down rules for digital twins, but like we don't, you know, there's not many people doing what we're doing. So kind of like, in my opinion, what I love is the romance of the same amount of people that can make it into the real life venue. That's how many people should be allowed in the metaverse. It's counted like intuitive to what you would expect from because you want to get as many people as possible, right? That's the internet world, okay? But I love this idea that's kind of like a rule of mixed reality. So, you know, anyhow. So yeah. So like imagine now they're making about $400. Now, with our technology, by the way, I forgot to say that we have screens in the venue. So that starts triggering presence from the online and virtual, yo, nomad. So it starts triggering. So people in the venue can feel the guys in VR. And then we have screens showing VR. And once you actually experience it, you can see that feeling of presence. It's phenomenal. It's a game changer. It's like evolutionary, in my opinion, because, for example, a place like Sawubona Music Jam, I want the performers and the MCs, or we want them to all feel the presence of each one of you that's in there. So you can be like, hey, I'm part of this. Who's the other people in the venue? The people in the venue can also chat to you guys online. Now imagine everyone in the States, all it comes pays $10, okay? If we got 80 people paying $10, that's $800. That's 12,000 rands. Right now, he's making maybe 5,000 rands if he's lucky. It's almost 3 times the amount of income. Think of what kind of impact it could have what I'm considering the most creative continent on the world, the most creative country on the world, producing some of the most incredible like music and everything. And I would love to go into that more, but maybe for another session to show everyone actually what's happening in South Africa. It's phenomenal. We have a very unique and special country here. So yeah, like this for me, these technologies and what they can do for us here in South Africa is mind-blowing. So like in our venue here, we have an art gallery and we show art, right? And this idea that now like people are seeing South African culture, South African art. You know, like Fortnite, like I don't know if any of you have a kid. I have a kid. There's my wife, Gina, who looks just like Scott. I'm not sure if that's Scott from Joburg, but if it is, give us a dance, bro. We have a kid who's 11-year-old, and you know, like we give him money to go to he went with friends to this thing. Yo, Scott, yo. And he comes back with that money to spend in Fortnite, right, and digital stuff, you know. So like anyhow, we see this being like really like a huge technology for South Africa. So imagine all this culture we have here and all these venues that are struggling so much. I haven't even gone in how hard it is to run a venue in South Africa, like a live music venue, especially after COVID. Imagine all these venues now are like culturally relevant globally. That is just incredible and insane, and I'm very excited about that. So yeah, I think that's like the story in a nutshell.
Amazing, Michael. Thank you so much. What a tour de force of a guest talk. Holy crap. I just did something pretty cool. So I went into the camera mode at the bottom and selected filming mode, and I just flew inside your venue here where the entire interior is there modeled. And if anyone wants to try that out, you can. There's also, we made a whole world where we uploaded this model. It's a little rough. It's just a quick GLB import, but you can, if you want to see what the inside of the studio looks like, it's one of these interior green buildings that is actually the venue, and you can sort of go inside and have a look around even right now, which I kind of blew my mind just now. Then I came out and you were all like giants, but yeah, we just, once again, thanks so much, Michael. I think we have about 10 minutes left for questions or further discussion. So feel free to type in the chat or use your voice. I guess one of my questions for you was, how did the city that you're in influence the design of the virtual space that you created, this venue here? If anyone can fly inside, you'll see that there's like a stage, there's a bunch of posters and sort of like a balcony in the background, and you can see in these photos up as well what it looks like. But I was curious how the design was inspired by
the
city.
It's a good question. So like when you're inside there, you can see other objects that are like iconically Johannesburg, like certain buildings. But when you're in the city, like when you're around us, when you leave that night, it's like I was saying, and we call it Little Mogadishu. There's fire burning outside. There's all these crazy zombies and everything. And there's such an eerie feeling. So we try to bring a bit of that in through the lighting and like some, like there's a Casper, like these typical apartheid vehicles, you know, and like the green roofs are very much like from how the city is and everything. But like we did a replica of our space, like it's pretty accurate-ish from obviously found objects mostly. But inside the venue, we changed it quite a bit from what we did in VR, from what was in the real world, to adjust to the VR environment more. And that actually affected us quite a bit for the real world, because we were like, shit, this is so cool. And then we were like, how do we bring this back into the venue? So it was more like the VR world affected the real life venue. Our venue feels so much like a VR chat world now. We've got like neon strip lights and strobes and all of that kind of stuff. That's very much part of the VR dance culture. So like we, you know, you can't leave the structure of our place yet, but we want to do it so when you walk out, we design it in a way that you actually get a feeling of what it's like to be outside there and what it feels like to be in Johannesburg City. Scott here is actually a journalist from one of the media companies and an American guy who's one of the first people to actually move into Johannesburg City. And like, I don't know if you have anything to add about the area, Scott, but yeah.
You mentioned one thing, I think, but did anything from the virtual venue work its way into the real venue?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's more about the lightings that we brought in, that kind of neon-y VR look, you know?
So your real venue started to look like more like a VR venue, is that what you're saying?
Exactly, yes, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. Huge influence.
How was the 3D model done, says Patrick? Do you mean the one that we imported here to Spatial, or the original version? So we got it at converted to a GLB through Sketchfab and then just dropped it in the Spatial scene. But maybe you can, Michael, you can talk about, you had somebody you worked with to build it, right?
Yeah, there's Lucas from he's from a company called Untitled in the UK. He's a very, very talented artist and a friend, and he helped build the first 3D model. The first model was kind of like how Lucas interpreted it, and then over like a period of 3 months, we slowly like created new sections, and the VR community was helping us, the VR chat community. And it was kind of a collective project between the VR chat community and ourselves to kind of get it to where it is now. It's also like because we feed the VR world back into the real world, into screens at our venue, how we did the lighting and how we do things in VR is also influencing, because it becomes a visual and a backdrop to what we are doing in the real world in VR. I start getting confused on which world I'm in.
Yeah, so I don't think it was a scan, Patrick. I think it was using assets that they sourced, and they were just using a reference to find things that looked like the real venue, right? Is that so? It's not a
yeah, but it's
twin,
set
right?
up. No, it is. Look, it is. I don't know how to interpret these things because I'm not an architect. So the way it's the block is the same size as the block in town.
Mm-hmm.
Each building that you're seeing there is the same as in the real life.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the exact proportion and it's a bit of interpretations, yes. So if you look at the Google Maps, I'll send you the address, 131 Albert Street. It's like, I don't know what everyone's interpretation is. It's not an exact model, but it is.
There was a lot of debate to this morning on LinkedIn about what a digital twin is and who can call something a digital twin. I was reading about it, but yeah, that's really interesting. We saw this on the Google Map way back at the beginning of your talk, right? It was the same compound.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that doesn't get translated, you can't see the skybox obviously in this. So, but if you go in VR chat, that's the link over here in the corner. If you have VR chat, you can go visit the world there. They've got, a nighttime scene with, I think there's burning trash cans. I'm not sure. And then there's like you said, like big tanks, apartheid sort of vehicles at the entrance. And then you go in to the venue. So you don't arrive on the dance floor. You arrive, you have to do an entrance the same way you would in real venue, which a lot of virtual venues have been doing that. I think it's really important part of the experience, but it's an interesting sort of way to get introduced to the space. Does anyone else have any questions for Michael?
I've also made a link to our link tree there in the chat, so you can check the VR world or Discord and stuff like that. If I can just add, because when's the next event? Scott. Yes. The next event's going to be at Sonnage, which is funnily enough, a metal club that we've installed some of our tech. And we trying to raise funds for metal music. But it's just like they metalheads, but they also do like lots of other stuff. So we put our cameras and some of our computers in there. So like if you follow us, next we're going to have parties all of next weekend. We haven't built the digital twin yet, so it's going to Soda World, but you can come experience the events. That's going to be next weekend, I think Friday and Saturday. There'll be like a techno event on Friday, which is the South African techno DJs, and we'll feel you in the venues, which will be amazing.
Oh, nice.
And then we like trying to raise bucks from grants and investment also right now, so we can keep our studio going. Because what we're doing is launching a channel. Actually, we're launching this channel of it's kind of like a new era channel, of this this is kind of like this agnostic. It's platform agnostic channel. Like imagine we have 10 venues installed with our software with these presenters, and how music MTV started, they were using satellite and cable TV. All they did is put music videos on and had presenters present those videos. And we kind of see ourselves like that. We're trying to build that up and then create new sources of revenues for artists here and expand that to the world. We want to install like really like the thing is like culture is under threat. It's under like threat from corporatization, and then also like the value of music. If you got 100,000 listens on Spotify, you earn about $400. If you sold 1,000 CDs after everyone's cut, you'd make about $3,000. So like the economy is so messed, and I kind of feel that in the metaverse now we can make it right. And we also, we part of, well, I don't like the word decentralized, but I love the DAO software so much. So we're building it on the kind of DAO thinking. But it excites me to think that the new world of entertainment and venues and cities can be owned by the people who love culture. If we, because of the numbers that we can come together, like we building parts of it that we feel are part of the ecosystem. But imagine like 50 other different players, each building their different parts, and we all come together to the point where the way to make it really work, which I love, is that we'd have to raise enough funds to build our own internet cables to go between the continents. Because obviously the pathways that carry the internet are at the end of the day is like our leaders, like those five. We have about two. Yeah, like there's about 2 or 3 lines that are coming into Africa from Europe and America, internet. So if you think about it, that's governed by who, And anyway, for all of this system to be fully free, it's going to be amazing if like the right people own the industry in this new world. The artists, the creators, the promoters, the programmers, So
Yeah.
that's something I'm excited about.
So you come a long way, and I guess the final question I'll leave you with is like for a community like Spectra that's trying to grow a community about virtual world builders and physical placemakers. What kind of advice would you give to a community like this where we're trying to build collaborative spaces together, build a community around that? What have you learned from building your community that you think is the most important lesson for anyone trying to do this?
Look, I think people are coming from different worlds and angles here. So I'll just speak about, I guess, where I come from, which is the music and culture world. We experimented with, let's just do what we love and see what happens. Like, let's go as subculture, as like niche as we can. And just by doing what we love the most and not trying to appease the audience, we got a beautiful community that's developing around us, So I don't know, I guess it's like sounding cheesy, but do what's close to your heart, And don't try to do what you think people want. Just do what you think, intuitively what you're feeling, As we say, from one intuition to the next.
Right on. Well, thanks so much, Michael. This was a really amazing talk. We're happy to be in touch with you and hopefully visit one of your next events or parties. Yeah, well, I'm gonna leave it off here. Let's give another round of applause for Michael.
Guys, thank you. Yeah, this has been such a cool experience.
Yeah, this was pretty cool. I didn't really know exactly how it was going to work, but this is awesome. If anyone wants to stay on and explore the Soda World model, well, there's the VR chat one over there. We have a quick mock-up we put up over here, this portal. So maybe before we sign off, we could hop in this portal and have a walk around it because we can actually get inside it more comfortably there. Do you see this up here, Mike?
Yeah, and Nick, I just want to say thank you for all of this. I mean, you've been amazing, and like so much effort and love and dedication into this. It's been quite an amazing journey to relive this journey, which I haven't done like this. So it's really been awesome. So thank you.
Yeah, cool. I'm gonna click this portal. Let's check out the exhibit. I'm gonna travel to Soda World exhibit.
Can you?
So it's missing a lot of stuff, and it's no collision, but the actual venue is over here. And you can actually walk in it. Very cool. I'm gonna send the link to yeah, this is really cool. the venues over here, there's actually like you can walk in. This is an older version than the one I've been in before recently, but yeah, all the decorations came through and everything. It's amazing how lived in like a space feels when it's the product of a lot of different people adding things and stuff. Can't get to the second floor without collision. We could fly up with the camera though.
I always like these worlds which you can't just teleport in. Kind of feels one more step. Actually have to explore.
Yeah, for sure.
Travel the distance.
I like what they did in their VR chat world. They did a little bit of world building where they designed like a Soda World beer or soda, and you have these like bottles of Soda World soda like all over the place, and you can like pick them up and
I saw those.
Cheers
in
with
the
other people
screenshots,
and stuff. Yeah. Hey, Mike, if you want to talk to it mutes you when you join by default, so you have to unmute again in the bottom bar.
Yeah. So you see Lucas here is like, he's like this African art stuff here is, it's so kitschy. It was so funny though. So this was like the early stuff of like Lucas's interpretation.
Just his beginning interpretation, yeah.
So like this is very different now in the VR chat world and so different. But I kind of like this because it's Lucas and it's just so cool.
It's cool that we got it to come through like this, like just quick and dirty, but still it's pretty awesome.
But this is our live music venue in town, and I miss it so much. I can't wait to get it going again. Such a magical space for performances. Nice. It's just like really amazing.
The music is so good too. Like the talent is. I've been listening to them, and oh my gosh, I had no idea.
It's unbelievable, and it's just like there's so much of it here because I don't know. Like always tell the story of the Paul Simon Graceland album. It's one of the best-selling albums of all time, and it's because of apartheid and colonialism. Like this just didn't see that people had culture here, so it actually hid most of things for so long. And then like Paul Simon, when he came here, he didn't do much. I mean, he's a genius, don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to make the point. But Ladysmith Black Mambaza, Hugh Masekela, Miriam Makeba, Stimela, all these incredible music that doesn't exist anywhere in the world. Like, for example, I don't know if any of you have heard of Maskandi music, which is Zulu country music. It is so big here that it's like incredible how many artists you have, but because of colonialism, it's degressed the culture, so to speak, I love it so much, and we want to start doing events. We actually want to start doing Maskandi events. It's an incredible music form, and that's just one example. There's the Amapiano scene, which is like blowing up around the world.
Right. This is what like Beyonce and Drake have been getting inspired by this recently, right?
Yeah. Jay-Z's invested in a nightclub down here. And it's just to live in a city that's transformed from like Ku Klux Klan to this like cultural capital of the world is insane. And what's happening now after COVID, it's really, really got fucked hard. Like it just lost so much of the progress it was making. People don't have money, venues, live music. It's happening, but not as much. But there's more of these criminal syndicates. I'll give you an example. One of the performers is in Hillbrow. It's really worth watching a documentary about Hillbrow City, YouTube, because that was the most gangster city in the world, hands down, in like violence and crime. Even though they've like got it under control, it's run by a Nigerian drug lord. The police bring him the drugs and the money. There's 4 of these guys anyway. So like, yeah, I won't say this on the stream, but the big mining corporation Anglo Gold left the city. They had their headquarters there, 4,000 people. The big banking companies, Standard Bank, Absa, and everything, had their corporate offices in the Joburg CBD, and they started leaving this vacuum in town in these massive buildings. And there's a very, very exciting project that's underway. Because of the work we've done at Soda, we previewed it. It's not public yet. but where they're making a massive fund to regenerate the city, and like really incredible initiatives underway of like converting these mass buildings into like incredible universities. They're having a way to deal with all the homeless people. So like Johannesburg is an exciting city right now. It's like a city that's rebirthing again for the third time.
Wow.
I would
That's
highly
awesome.
recommend. Yeah,
I really
highly
want to
recommend
like
coming to
visit.
visit.
Yeah, I think that would be so cool. One of the angles you said, like mentioned on the, because you're talking about all these challenges, right? And that institutions that are weakened or like really dysfunctional. I think that coming from a more North American context, like when we think about the promise of technologies like metaverse technology or whatever, or decentralized technology, we're thinking about it in our sort of global north context. But if you're in a context where you can't trust your institutions as much, or you have a more unreliable institution, this technology takes on like kind of a different meaning for you, right?
Big time. Big time. It's like there's a pity that the crypto bros kind of put a damper on that blockchain. You see, we don't call it even crypto NFTs or anything. We call it smart contracts, DAOs. And the ability to create limited editions is quite exciting, because just small examples of stuff we're planning to do is like, okay, cool, like, I don't know, ornaments for avatars. Like we in the Zulu area. So imagine we get like there's like a Zulu love charm that you put on your arm. So imagine like we buy real love charms, and then we sell you the digital twin of it in the metaverse that you can now put on your avatar, right? But we also send that charm to you. So you're now buying from the local market, and you're getting an amazing original piece for your avatar, which is, it's like limited edition, 1 of 100, let's say. And that's what I love about the blockchain technology, its ability to do that. Just a cool example that's not necessarily blockchain, but the Constitutional Hill, there's guides there who make their money from taking people for tours. They're not paid, they just take people for tours. Now imagine what we want to do is we want to put VR headsets in the prison cells, and then you sitting in the States, man, you want a tour of the Constitutional Hill. You can pay a tour guide to take you on a tour. They come into the prison cell, put the VR headset, and meet you in the real life, but in the VR venue, and then take you for a walk. You know what I mean? It's like creating jobs now. So I can give you 1,000 examples of how it can be implemented here. And Nick, as you correctly said, like the American and European and Japanese markets are relatively developed. Like you'll maybe find like not even a percentage of homes here having gaming machines or even smartphones with capabilities. But it's the ability to use technologies like we are, which you could do with webcams and like a little bit of internet if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And suddenly activating the real world.
Yeah.
It has cultural authenticity in the virtual world. And that's
Right.
what I was talking about, the soul. It's easy to take a world and just, boom, put it into like here, for example.
Yeah.
But it's authentic and real if it exists in the real world, and especially
Yeah.
if you connect the two together.
Yeah, I
And
love the sliding scale of tech you use. Like, it's not always VR. Like, sometimes it's just a webcam or just a simple video feed, right? And even that can start to give access to that virtual layer. And I think you told a story once where you had to string a cable like across a road so that you could get a camera to a school or something.
yeah, well, yeah, we were experimenting with in the townships with tech, and that's also an interesting story. But we got invited to one of the townships, Voslerus, which is really impoverished. Life is really hard there. To a tech show where these kids were putting together, well, not kids, adults for the kids. And I got there, and it's like, man, it's like PlayStation 1s and shitty computers. We brought our VR system, but we actually couldn't run it because the electricity is so crap. We had to run a cable across the road. That's one story. I mean, there's stories where we had to run 50-meter internet cables to get internet. But recently we were asked to go see a school in Hillbrow, that badass town I was telling you about, and or the CBD, the Central Business District. The school is run it's like there's all these illegal Zimbabweans here who don't have papers, so the kids can't go to school. And this amazing bishop, the Bishop Paul Verlaine, and his church run the school for the most underprivileged people in the world. And they invited us to see what we can do with mixed reality there. And suddenly we realized that if we put this technology into the school, we can take an underprivileged school and connect it to a privileged school. So my son goes to a privileged school, a private school. So imagine we can put the same technology in the classroom and now beam it over to the class in this underprivileged one. Suddenly you're taking the privilege and you're using that for the underprivileged. And when you just start thinking about it, that's a small idea.
Yeah.
You start thinking of how we can fix this world. It's just, imagine like in the school, you can log in. I've been mentoring these kids and it blows my mind because you often get ignorant and you think, oh, these kids are in town, they don't have any benefits, but they're on phones. They know what's going on. They're playing games. They just don't have the access. Like, imagine they can get someone like a specialist from anywhere in the world to now log into their classroom.
Yeah.
The technologies that we're developing is
telemedicine projects. Like they're even up here in Maine on the islands, like they have telemedicine where you go to like a place on your island and you can connect to a doctor, right? And they even have a boat that goes between the islands with like a visiting doctor, right? So there's like these were just ways of these closing distance, right? It's pretty interesting.
It's mind-blowing. It's nothing short than, it's like how a telephone would have helped in the old days to bring connection to a village that never had any. I feel that
or the train line, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And with education being one of the biggest commodities, networks, access, this whole creator economy is developed, but our kids don't have access to it. So in our terms, living here, it's huge what it can do.
Amazing. This is so cool. Well, we'll definitely have to keep in touch, and as we host more events, like it would be great to collaborate on something. So yeah,
I'd love that. I would love to mix cities.
Yeah.
I would love to mix events in New York or wherever that we mix into each other's events and just spread this love. So there's a lot of these. I would love to workshop with anyone or brainstorm and get these things going.
Yeah, we're trying to do more design workshops with actual people like who are trying to build these sort of co-living communities, and I think like giving people the opportunity to build while they're partying, right? That would be the dream, right?
Yeah, I mean, like it doesn't have to be. It could be an artist residency linked up to a metaverse. It could be It's just anything really.
I mentioned to you that we might do something related to science fiction and writing, so keep in touch about that.
For sure. All the stuff is so exciting.
Yeah. Well, thanks once again. I'm gonna shut off the stream, but I think there's still a crowd here for you. So I mean, I'd say you probably did a great job with the presentation. Everyone was pretty interested the whole time. So usually we burn out after 20 minutes. So
wow, that's amazing. I mean, thank you. This is like what you guys are doing. When I saw what you guys are doing and reading about it and speaking to you, I'm just like, what you guys are doing is how we change the world, because the visualization of what you're doing in itself creates a conversation. It's just insane. It's like
different conversations, different spaces for different conversations, for sure.
Just incredible where all of this stuff's going. It's so new. It's just,
Awesome, man. I'm really glad we found you, because like just the enthusiasm, it's like we're starting to meet these people. I think we have a good crew here, Patrick, and we've got a community of a dozen people that are starting to sort of get it, and it's nice. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Great. Well, what's everyone up to today? I gotta go drive to another event. But
if anyone has any questions,
nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ryan. The mobile worked out for you. I saw you had to join a few times, but
yes. When you're on mobile,
if you change apps, it kicks you out of the
Oh,
space.
right. It makes you reload it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Cool.
I was kind of out and about, but then I got home. I was on my computer for the last hour, so
Cool. Well,
it
we'll
was
have the
good.
whole recording up soon from the stream. And
But I had a quick question about this space. I could ask you later too.
Yeah.
But
Oh, go ahead.
did you build this space, or is this Soda World? Is this Soda World? Was this like a VR? The space that we're standing in right now, was that already on VR chat and you helped port it to Spatial, or did he had already?
Oh, we
ported
just
it
did
to
that
Spatial?
today. Yeah, it was on VR chat until today. We brought it in
Nice.
literally in like a couple hours.
Yeah,
And is
this
it just
the
one
old
big
model.
GLB, or you brought in like
It's
that
one
couch and these other
GLB.
assets?
It's
These are
yeah, one big GLB
Yeah.
file.
looks
Yeah,
pretty good
exactly.
for one big GLB.
Yeah.
This Lucas is such a talented designer. I'm gonna see if I can find the link to his world.
Yeah, that's what I was saying,
His
Ryan. There's like
Instagram
this
profile.
talent from the community in VR chat. There are a lot of builders. Most of them are like hobbyists too, like or self-taught at least.
Yeah,
I'm
and
surprised
Lucas is really
in one
world
GLB
class.
that you have all these details just loaded as
I
textures.
mean, this is how our
or I guess
spaces
just
work
loaded
too,
as-
Ryan. Like Lucas prepared them as a big GLB, so most of the intersection is one GLB actually too.
True.
Did you put these posters up separately, or no? That was just embedded too.
That was embedded in
Like the post-
the
Yeah, we didn't do anything. I literally just dragged this into an empty world like in 10 minutes, like while we were setting up at 11.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
having the miniature,
must check in
like,
the VR.
it's crazy that you could have this entire space inside of the intersection as a miniature. And I
Yeah.
flew inside it. You'll see in the stream, I flew inside with the camera and I could see all these posters just the same, except when I flew out, we were in the intersection. You guys were like 100 feet tall, right? So it's crazy what you could do with
Yeah,
scale. Like,
I tested that too. I think there's some interesting things you could do with storytelling with that.
oh, right.
Where if you put little models and you kind of like had people weave through scenes.
Yeah, if you're trying to
that
tell
way.
like a regional scale story, you could kind of like travel between cities that way, even in the same space. Yeah.
Mhm.
Neat.
Cool.
Well,
All right. Well, we
awesome.
can call it a wrap.
Yeah,
Good-
yeah.
good
Take care.
update.
Next week we've got another great speaker. I forget. It's either the Roblox guy or let's see, who do we got? No, it's actually Kat.
Cat Schwer.
Kat Schwer is a
Dr.
gaming
Schwer.
PhD studying gaming and worked with the World Health Organization, VR and empathy, all that good stuff. So that should be a really great talk. That's in the evening slot, by the way. It's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern because of Kat's availability. But yeah.
I've just shared the Hyperfy link, so you can go see our Hyperfy what it looks like now.
Oh, cool.
So
Someone
that's
just
like
put Spectra into
a-
Hyperfy too. We got to get the link from Jin, but Jin brought our market into Hyperfy. It sounds like a cool platform.
Yeah, it's very interesting what they're doing. So Metric helped me with this one, and then I put Lucas who did our 3D world. You can check his stuff. Really good stuff.
That link was dead. I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
don't
tried
know
to
if the
open it,
link
it's
works.
dead.
It might be private.
Which one? The
Yeah.
Instagram?
Hyperfy.
No, the hype.
Or maybe it's not up anymore.
Oh wow, Luke's stuff is
I'll
pretty amazing. Looking at Instagram.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Nice. Great. Well, yeah, I'm gonna hop off. We're gonna be at the New York City event next week, Metaverse and the City Summit. I'll be there representing us. We don't have anything official on their schedule, but I'll just like sort of be there and make connections and stuff.
Cool. All right. See you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Take
Thanks
care, everyone.
again.
Yep. See ya. I'll get you the recording. All right.
Bye, guys. Ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.